And Happy New Year.
26.
Do you guys still watch the, I know this is a week later, but do you watch the thing on New Year's Eve, like Times Square stuff?
No. Do you?
No.
You know, see, in Texas, the great thing is you can watch that and celebrate the ringing into the new year an hour early and then go to bed, which I'm always eager to do.
You're celebrating New Year's when those
It's
Yankees...
the equivalent of the Blue Plate special, but for New Year's parties.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's just not, like the whole thing is sponsored by Planet Fitness. And so all of Times Square is filled with these, I don't know what they are. They're these things that people hold in the air and they shake them around. I think they're noisemakers.
Homosexuals.
You are not allowed to shake people in the air.
Anyway, and then they had this woman came out. I don't know who she is, but let me just say this. I hate John Lennon's song Imagine.
Everybody with a soul does. It's
Yoko Ono told him it was shit.
So anyway, so it's bad enough when Lennon sings it, but they had some woman singing it who was just, it sounded like she was passing a stone. And it was just agonizing to listen to. She's probably super famous and everybody loves her. But anyway, that was on. And then they dropped the ball. And the ball, like to me, that seemed to be a much bigger deal in the past than it is now. And I was like,
well, didn't they used to drop it on people in the crowd?
Well, I don't know. It just seemed like it was nothing. Like it was insignificant. It was small. And then they did another ball drop, which is to kick off the 250th anniversary celebration of America, which I thought they shouldn't have put that on the same night. Like, do a separate event for that.
Yeah.
That just
they should, that would goose ratings though. If they just swung the ball around like on a crane or something, and then let it go at midnight, and you see where it lands in the big crowd.
And then they pan around the crowd and show all these people smooching. You know, they have to do that. And of course, they've got to get same-sex couples doing that.
That was the first kiss, apparently, right? These two homosexuals with the top
Oh, was it
hats.
really? I didn't.
That's why I said that's what you wave around in the air on.
They
New
got to
Year's
make
Eve.
sure they show that. And then they have, which I actually enjoy, is Frank Sinatra's version of New York, New York. So that's okay. But here's what I remember. We lived in the country, and so we weren't out anywhere. We celebrated at home with my grandparents who raised us. My grandfather would make some like eggnog or something, some for the parents and some for the kids.
Yay.
Separate versions. And my grandmother, like we had an hors d'oeuvre that was Lebanon bologna wrapped around some cream cheese with a toothpick in it. And I have the fondest memories of New Year's Eve. But anyway, it was...
Sounds like you have the fonduest memories of...
I did. We did. One year we did get them a fondue machine, and we used it...
a machine?
Sparingly. Well, it's that
the
pot with the thing.
Pot thing with the stickers, yeah.
Yeah. It's another dangerous toy for the children. But anyway, what we watched before the ball drop and before Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve came along was Guy Lombardo from the ballroom of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Guy Lombardo's orchestra would be playing and there would be all these old people, or what appeared to me to be old people, out there dancing. And it was so, we were watching this in the 70s, but it seemed like something from the 40s.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And now you just see a bunch of people who had to go through security screening of 16 hours earlier, and there's no bathrooms in Times Square. So you've got a bunch of people, standing in puddles of their own juices, and terrible artists, and and it's all billboards with advertising all over the place. And I don't know. I just would like to go back to the Waldorf Astoria Hotel and hear Guy Lombardo and his orchestra.
Wasn't it Nick Bergazzi who said, "Look, I'm from the 1900s"?
Yeah, Nate. Yeah,
Nate.
Well, next year, probably the Waldorf Astoria will have been nationalized, and Mandami will be holding his little celebration there.
And finally, we'll get those rents down at the Waldorf Astoria, because That's how you get rents down.
I had a
it's the
small
people's
childhood
go-to.
memory kicked off from the Fondue reference. My mom was a real fashion plate. That we it's not like we had a lot of money or anything, but she was always just a super, super, super good dresser. And on top of all these things, we had narrow jackets with medallions and things. We had to go down to the hotel a couple times a week and be seen.
I have a picture of us sitting on Santa's lap wearing Nehru jackets.
I loved them. I thought they were great. We had lime green ones, and my brother Evan had a plum colored one. Anyway, so we had the whole fondue thing, and when fondue was the de rigueur thing to have.
Yes.
And I remember my mom getting really pissed off at me because I was using, the fondue sticks have those tiny little forks at the end, right? Those little tiny little forks. Well,
it's a lethal weapon.
Oh, look, balloons. That turns out to be like exactly the right size for that. It's the most popular plastic model ever built. It's the USS Enterprise original TV version of the Enterprise, and I must have built 7 or 8 of those, just those. But I put little grain of wheat lights inside the thing and painted it, and then those things were perfect for punching out the windows. But you had to heat the fondue thing like red hot, and then kind of poke them
right through the plastic.
Yeah, worked great, but it kind of did a job on the fondue sticks.
Well,
Oh, and so the plastic would glob up on the fondue stick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad taught me the art of welding when I was probably about 10. I had it was a B-17 model, and one of the propeller blades broke off. And there's the root of the blade is so small, there's really almost no way to glue it back on, And
Little dot of solder do the trick?
so what my dad did was he took one of those runners of the plastic that you break the parts off, and he lit it with a match, and he got it molten hot, and then he put it on there, and then he stuck the thing in, and the plastic hardened, and actually held. It was great.
That is cool.
And so I tried it myself almost immediately thereafter with something else, and a flaming hot globule of plastic landed on my forearm.
On your what?
On my forearm, which is the oldest scar, the second oldest scar I have on my body right here. Just still there after, these 50 years.
That's a lot of years.
57 years, something.
Yeah. That was about the same age where I learned that with enough Ronzanol and Strike Anywhere matches, you can make anything burn. Just about anything. Oh, God, what... You remember flash paper? This stuff was expensive when I was a kid. A package of, I think it was 25 or maybe 50 sheets, and they're not even index card size. It was like $5 in 1980 money.
Are you saying I can get it cheap now?
Probably. I don't know. Check Amazon.
Okay.
But it was like 2 a.m, summer vacation. So I'm up, painting models and watching People's Court and Three Stooges on TV. And I was also doing
package.
Oh yeah, I was also doing some experiments with flash paper for this stop motion Star Wars thing that my buddy Kevin and I were working on with my grandmother's little Super 8 camera.
That's awesome. I did that.
And I blew out one of the Strike Anywhere matches. I dropped it on my desk, not realizing an entire stack, a brand new stack of flash paper was right there on my desk. Boom. The whole thing went up.
Woof.
All I could see was blue. I mean, just the brightest thing. It's like staring into the sun. I finally blinked the blue away. And there are various small fires all over my desk. It looks like the aftermath of an explosion in a movie. And I'm like, getting stuff out.
That's awesome.
Did you do magic when you were a kid, Steve?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you might have. Yeah.
Did a couple of birthday parties, that kind of thing.
Oh, wow. You did it like professionally.
I think I did 2 birthday parties and probably made a total of $50.
That's great. That's better than my band did in college in many cases.
Wow.
Have you seen that?
Okay, minus the price of 2 goldfish. There's one
yeah.
trick where you produce the goldfish and you got to give that to the birthday kid.
Have you guys seen the Harry Potter wand that shoots this little wad of flash paper?
No.
Oh, it's actually amazing. You take like flash paper and you wad it up like really small, like the size of a BB, and apparently you stick it in the front of this thing, and then you go, Ignacio or whatever, and you
just
click
makes
a button.
spark?
It uses compressed air to blow this thing out and light it, and this flame it goes about 10 feet.
Wow.
It really just shoots this thing of flame like 10 feet.
So it's like the Boring Company's flamethrower?
It's pretty cool.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
cool. I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, me
think I've
neither.
seen-
I never read the books, nor have I seen any of the movies.
But the amount of money and the number of different versions of lightsabers is unbelievable, and they continue to evolve that technology. Some guy actually got, I think maybe it was at Disney, actually got it so that the actual beam
came
out.
Yeah.
I
I've
couldn't
seen
move
that
it or
one.
anything, but it actually came out.
Yeah. Really, really cool stuff.
I never got it. I always just wanted to stand there in a room full of Star Wars fans with my Star Trek uniform and a phaser and just vaporize them all.
The place I wanted to go so badly, it looked like it was a giant vault, but I assume it was just a very large room. But, in your mind, a place like this must be a vault. And it was George Lucas, this was probably around the time they were shooting Jedi or after, sitting in a room of all of the spaceship models.
I've seen that picture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've seen that picture.
Have you? I assume you've done this. I just found out about this because we're binge watching Star Trek, the original, although it's been cleaned up and modernized, like they made the picture better or something. But they said, hey, because you've been watching this, you might like to watch this. And the other thing was like a little documentary about this place, I think in Seattle or Portland, where they have a bunch of the Star Trek memorabilia, including Kirk's chair, like the actual seat from the Enterprise, and Spock's tunic. They referred to it as a tunic, the shirt. And so the whole thing was just about that, how those things are made. And then they also did a little bit about the actual model of the Enterprise that was used. It's about 10 feet long.
It's at the Smithsonian.
At the Smithsonian, yes. Yeah. And they said when they were, now this documentary is like 10 years old, but they said when they were done with it, they were going to put it next to like the Apollo moon lander. And I'm like, isn't that fascinating? Like and I just thought that's perfect. The conspiracy theorists will go out of their minds.
I have not seen it. And I need to see it. I really need to see it.
Yeah, and they brought it in, and they spent years
restoring
it, and did like a flawless job on it. But the video I saw, or the film at that point, whatever it was, they were showing it and they were going, okay, you see here where those supports that kind of come up out of the main fuselage.
Yep.
He said you could see the weight of this has cracked the fuselage in here, and so we need to patch that up. And and so they said now it's like they did super amounts of research to make sure that the paint was exactly right, that the light colors were exactly right, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's actually gray-green. It's like a very pale gray-green.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And we just saw that after we watched the episode, and maybe you'll tell me this because you told me before Spock's brain was one of the most hated episodes.
It was horrible.
Oh yeah.
So the one we just saw was about the Medusans, the Medusan guy.
Yeah, where only the blind woman can talk with them.
Yeah, well, spoiler. Oh. We didn't even know she was blind at the beginning of the episode.
I don't remember this one at all. It must be beyond bad and just forgettable.
So this was like Spock's old girlfriend or something shows up and anyway, she has decided she's going to devote her life to being an assistant to this ambassador from the Medusans. And apparently the Medusans are really nice people, but they are so hideous
that you can't look at them.
That a man looks at him and will go out of his mind so to the extent that he dies. Like he'll go insane and then die from the insanity. And it was pretty.
So that's bad, right?
It was out there.
It's funny you mentioned those pylons that hold up the warp nacelles on the original Enterprise.
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned earlier, I built so many of those plastic model Enterprises, and that was always the problem with that model. There's a lot of weight at a very high angle, and you would put those in, and you think the glue was set, and you'd come back like an hour later, and they'd be down like this,
Well, see, your problem was that if they had just left it in the vacuum of space, they wouldn't have that problem.
The weightlessness of
the
space.
Weight would not be bearing down on it. Yeah. So I don't know why they brought it back from space.
Well, when they did the Enterprise refit for the movies, which is the most beautiful spaceship of all time, the Enterprise refit is unbelievable in the movies. You won't believe how much better it looks.
Really?
But they really beefed
and
up
every
those.
movie, they actually improved the model a little bit, mostly the paint job.
No matter how old I get, no matter how many things I see and how many different generations and remakes and everything, the Enterprise from the movies is the most beautiful moving object in the history of the world.
Wow.
It's absolutely perfect.
I think it's so
argument
cool
from me.
that they're going to put it next to or they maybe have already put it next to the lunar lander or whatever. It's like everything else in that atrium is a real craft of some sort that flew either on Earth or in space, and then they're going to put the Enterprise in there. So all the people who believe that the moon landing didn't happen will now see how good they can fake it.
I've got a close friend who has something hanging in the Smithsonian, man. That's pretty impressive to say.
That is very
Burt Rutan's
cool.
Spaceship One is right up there with the Bell X1.
Yeah.
It's the first private
I've still
spacecraft.
never been to the annex, which makes me
We were
feel
there.
like less of a man.
We were there just a couple months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Udvar-Hazy. I've been there twice now.
No, I've got to get to the annex, and as many times as I've been to DC in the last 20 years, I can't believe I've never taken the time.
It's like a mile from the airport. It's right
Reagan?
there. Wow. No, from Dulles.
Dulles, okay. I always fly into Reagan. Maybe
I
I'll have
would
to
too. I don't
switch that
blame you.
up
I hate
next time.
Dulles. But if you ever go to Dulles, you need to go to Udvar-Hazy because it's honestly like they got a shuttle right there. It's pretty amazing. It's huge.
My favorite bit of Star Trek lore, well, one of my favorite bits anyway, is actually from The Next Generation. Remember those one-piece spandex bodysuits they had to wear for the first couple of seasons?
Yes.
Gene Roddenberry was convinced that spandex was the fabric of the future, and so everybody had to wear these spandex jumpsuits. And the actors, it was just killing their backs because you've got clothing that's trying to compress you from your shoulders to your feet. And it was just, everybody hated these damn things. Roddenberry finally steps back from the show, I think, in the third season, and they got him pants and jackets.
Maybe that's why they looked so awkward when they were fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Their bodies were being
I never
squashed
really
in.
liked Next Generation, but the first season or two were just unwatchable. I don't know how that
really
show
bad.
survived.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, sheer
I will say,
determination, I think.
on the fondue topic, my understanding is that it is not proper to eat fondue at home with one of these fondue kits that you used to be able to buy, unless you have already shaved using hot lather from the hot shaving cream machine.
Oh, I remember those. I don't know if we ever had
yes.
one, but I remember those. I'm surprised those cans didn't explode.
We bought one from my grandfather. Yeah, I never understood the science behind it. I'm like, is this really a good idea to heat up a compressed gas?
The only way to lather up for a shave is with a bowl, a brush, and some shaving soap.
Yeah,
That-
I did
So
that
did you-
for a long time.
Did
Me
you
too.
guys ever have like toy razors so you could shave when your dad shaved?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
My dad had the safety
I
razors
think
that
we
had
used the real ones.
My dad had those awesome safety razors that had the top that would just like clamshell out like the top of the
This
space
is
shuttle.
the one I use.
That's what
Put
I
the
have.
flat safety
Yeah.
razor in and close it back up again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I got that and my dad would be shaving and I'd be in the bathroom and put the lather on, and I was doing all this
That's
stuff.
right.
It's funny. I don't want to really run with this into the woods or anything, but it's things like that, that having it's things like that having a dad in your life make a big difference.
Yeah.
Compared to boys who grow up without him in the house, that actually was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I think there was a palpable influence of Old Spice in my life.
Old Spice and
Aqua
Vitalis.
Velva. Aqua Velva. Vitalis, yes, he had Vitalis as well. In fact, we put that on like if we on the rare few bursts of time when we went to church on Sunday mornings, we would we had these Princeton haircuts which were tight on the sides, long on the top, and you looped it over. You kind of folded it back, and you had a little kind of wave on the front of your head, and that was soaked with Vitalis and with an Ajax comb and.
Oh man. God, this is so long ago. A former best friend of mine, I say former because we lost him to leukemia back in '99. It's been a long time now. But David was about 10 years older than I was, and he said his secret weapon for dating was Old Spice.
Oh yeah.
And
I love it.
what he said to me
dig it.
was, As long as you aren't afraid of dating women with daddy issues, this stuff, this stuff never fails.
I love it. I love it. And I loved the bottle. I loved that little tiny little cap thing that would go in there, and then you could shake it, and only like a drop would come out. Yeah, it was epic.
That's perfect.
That was branding in extreme excellence there. Like nobody else had. I mean, every company tried to come up with a unique bottle. Like Aqua Velva had their own particular shape of bottle, and High Karate had their own.
I remember High. I was going to say, do you remember High Karate?
Wow.
And Brute.
No, I haven't even thought of that in so long.
Brute by Fabergé, as Eddie Murphy reminded us.
And I think I actually wore Brute for a while.
Yeah, but Old Spice nailed it. Like there was just something so distinctive, and if they did nothing else but create that bottle, they wouldn't have had to do any advertising. It was just like, this is it.
Yeah.
What were you mentioned Old Spice, High Karate, and what was the other one?
Brute by Fabergé.
No, not Brute.
Aqua Velva.
Aqua Velva.
It looked like Scope.
You're right, it did.
So it was
I'm an Aqua Velva man.
I think there was more than one flavor. I think there was like blue and maybe green, but there was definitely blue. But that was we also, did you ever have Brill cream in the house?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the Vitalis covered us on that ground, but I don't know that I've ever used Brill cream.
Little dabble, do you?
Little dabble, do you?
Another genius. Like, where are the David Ogilvy advertising men of the?
So my dad has, I have curly hair. My dad has curly hair, but with all the Vitalis, it would be redefined as wavy hair.
Yeah,
that's what happened. You got the wavy hair, and then
my grandfather was the same.
And then I remember so clearly because it was actually almost like, I remember my dad being a little like torqued about this. This would be about 1970, maybe between 69, 71, 72. All of a sudden, remember the ads that said, "The wet head is dead. The wet head is dead.
The dry look.
Long live the dry look from
look
Gillette." And it was the first time I ever saw a blow dryer, and I thought, man,
that's when homosexuality took hold in this
that's
country.
precisely when communism began to take hold in America. Exactly right.
Now, dry look was great stuff. I picked that stuff up from my dad. My dad had curly hair, hated it, so he used the dry look in a hair dryer every day. His hair was so damn straight you never would have guessed. And I'm just like, well, I like that look, so I did that for years. But they stopped making this stuff.
Well, I use stuff. I have mine professionally done like every 3 months, and I think they use the same stuff that they use to like relax the transatlantic cables, that they use for But actually, I found out that apparently the stuff that they're using is like illegal in California now. So now I have to go to
everything's illegal in
back
California.
alley in Tijuana.
Back alley hairstyle.
Yeah.
That's right. God, I hate California, and it's so beautiful. It's just.
Well, it's not it's not the land that you have.
It's the
freaking people.
That's right. There's that line from Albert Brooks' movie. I forget what it is. He's getting a divorce or something, and they're sitting. The movie opens with him sitting in the divorce attorney's office, and they're just going through the thing, just the basics that you have to tell the couple, and the attorney says, now during the course of these, as we're resolving all these proceedings and everything, he looks at the lady and says, you can't leave the state. And Albert Brooks goes, "It's me she doesn't like. She has nothing against the land."
That sounds so familiar, and I can't place the movie. I gotta look this up.
Sounds exactly
It's
like
Mother.
Albert Brooks.
The movie is Mother, I think.
Oh, Mother, yeah. Wow, I haven't seen that one in a long time. That's like the mid-90s.
I just adored him. I thought
2000s.
he was great. I just loved him.
That line, and then the when
Lost in America is a nobody talks about it, but it's a work of art.
You're not even allowed to use the word egg nest.
Nest egg.
It's nest egg.
Nest egg.
And he
Egg
says,
nest.
or the
Good
word
Lord.
nest, or the word egg.
Maybe it's my fault. Perhaps I failed to adequately explain the nest egg principle. The egg is like a god. It protects us.
The thing is, as a writer, as an actor, as a director, he was never afraid to lean into his own ability to play a total ass.
Yeah. Yes.
What happened to him?
And
Is
you
he
still
with us?
liked him.
It's a horrible scene because he is berating Julie Haggerty, who's the sweetest thing. And he put himself in that role to be a total jerk to this sweet, kind woman who just happened to have an unknown gambling problem.
I know Super Dave Osborne died not too long ago, and that's his brother.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yes.
I know it periodically.
Yeah.
I'm
Albert Brooks is still with us, isn't he? I think.
Believe so.
I hope so.
Yeah, he's just.
right.
God,
I
he's
saw
funny.
Stephen Wright a couple weeks ago, filmed within the last year or two, and he's aged a bit.
Yeah.
Everybody has.
Albert
Yeah.
Brooks, I think Albert Brooks has a series of moments in movies that
Immortal.
that supersede all of his body of work together. Like it just, in broadcast news where these guys beat him up and then he shouts, "You'll never make more than $20,000 a year."
And it wasn't even him. It was the kid playing the younger version of him.
That's right.
But the
It's his
kid did a
line.
really good Albert Brooks.
Yeah, he's. You remember his moments more than you remember his movies.
That and his whole screed about William Hurt's character and saying, it's, I hate to say this, but Tom, whatever his character name was, is the devil.
He's the devil. And that's the thing. The three movies, he did three movies that if he had done nothing else in his life
Yeah.
would have been amazing. And it was Lost in America, Broadcast News, and Defending Your Life.
And in Mother, when he goes off on his mom for referring to the protective layer of ice on top of the ice cream that in the freezer, and he's like, "You've named it?"
Yeah, again, it's funny. It's just I don't even remember the name of the movie. I couldn't even tell you the plot of it. But he was a sound editor. This was before Lost in America. He was like a filmmaker, sound editor, and he's working on this movie. And you see this screen, and you see like this Darth Vader walking down the hall, and you hear his boots going like click, 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 and he goes, "No, this isn't right." He says, "Well, what do you want?" He says, "I want something. I want a space floor."
A space floor.
Oh, man.
Anyway, this is now devolved into a combination of Star Trek and just reminiscences of Two Old Men and Steve. However, there are things that have happened this week. If you had told me, I was not clued in. I forget exactly when this happened, but I got sick for a couple of days. And so I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on in the world. I was just kind of laying in bed, moaning and whining like men do, and reading a book on Kindle. And I open my phone and I see an alert that says that we've attacked Venezuela and taken the Venezuelan dictator, or whatever they call him officially, in that country. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what? Like that just seemed to come out of right field or left field, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I'm on a 48-hour news sabbatical, just very short sabbatical over the weekend. It starts on Friday afternoon when I'm done at PJ, and it ends on Sunday afternoon when I have to start putting some Instapundit stuff together for Monday morning and maybe pick out a topic for PJ Media in the morning.
It's a refreshing cleanse.
Monday morning. And yeah, it's good for the soul. And Saturday, I had forgotten. I've since fixed this, but I had never thought to turn off the notifications for the new Town Hall app. Town Hall Media, a part of the who owns PJ.
Yeah.
For my weekend focus on all my devices. And so I wake up Saturday, and the first thing I see on my phone is I'm just reaching for the little shortcut button on my phone to turn on some lights so I can go get my coffee, is Maduro captured. Well, crap. Looks like I'm jumping on Twitter.
Yeah. I was able to set it aside after just a brief scurrying around on the internet, and I was just like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do to fix it now, so we'll just
Delta Force seemed to have done a pretty good job.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like on Monday morning. But that was like just the shock factor for me. And then I saw a brief video clip of President Trump at a news conference, and one of the reporters says, because Trump had just said that we were going to run the country. We're going to run Venezuela. And then one of the reporters was like, well, do you anticipate having boots on the ground? And Trump like immediately picked up on that because he knows that's the meme. Anytime the United States is involved anywhere, the media immediately wants to start throwing that phrase around. And Trump goes, I have no problem saying boots on the ground. I'm not afraid of putting boots on the ground. Like why would anybody be concerned about that? But he knows that every other president has kind of backpedaled away from that question and try not be non-committal about
boots
it.
On the ground. You're the one putting boots on the ground.
That's
Why would I put boots on the ground?
Exactly.
I know that.
He was Nathan Thurm.
Why would you think I wouldn't know that? Of course I know that. Is it me?
But I just love the fact that he was like, yeah, if we have to put boots on the ground, we'll put them on the ground, But what's the big deal? Who cares?
And of course, my favorite meme is the Marco Rubio sitting on the sofa looking exhausted meme, or the chair, whatever, that yellow piece of furniture that he's sitting on. Uh-huh. And the meme is always Marco Rubio finds out he's blank job now. Because, he's
what?
Has blank job now.
Okay.
Because, he's Secretary of State, he's National Security Advisor, he was put in charge of...
And he's president of Venezuela.
Yeah. And so now they've got him wearing, the South American president suit with the big sash, sitting on the sofa. They've got one, he's wearing the Ayatollah hat. Another, he's dressed up like an Eskimo. Marco Rubio learns he's in charge of Greenland.
He's an amazing character because the whole time during that Trump presser, Rubio's in the shot. So you see him standing back there. And you don't know what's going to come out of Trump's mouth next.
No.
Well, let's not get too much into this because I kind of want to do this for my for my
episode. I thought nobody was doing this week.
No, I'm going to.
I thought we were just going to do it.
No, I'm going to talk about power politics.
Okay.
Not so much about Venezuela specifically. But save it for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to remember at that point.
Okay.
If I can remember High Karate, Brute by Fabergé, Aqua, Velva, Vitalis, Brill Cream, all those kind of things. Why can't I remember things like 5 minutes later?
I can remember entire episodes of The $6 Million Man. But when we're done taping these episodes here in about an hour and 40 minutes, whatever it is, and I go downstairs and Melissa asks me how was work today, I'll say, I think we shot some really solid episodes. And she'll say, what did you talk about?
I have no idea.
Oh, I can't even tell my wife the episode I hosted.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I was doing a memory test not long ago. I'd done some like IV vitamins and stuff, and it was like, and I was like, wow, I feel sharp, and I was lying there in bed trying to go to sleep, and I thought, I seem to like my memory is like it just seems incredible. I thought, okay, if your memory's so incredible, Mr. Incredible Memory Guy, who were the three actors in F Troop? Larry Storch, Ken Berry, and Forrest
Gump.
No.
DeForest Kelly.
No. I actually had it. I actually had it instantly.
Oh,
now
I was so close.
I don't know if I ever saw F Troop.
Really?
I certainly didn't see it when it was
even American?
Live on the air. Questionable.
Larry Storch, Ken Berry, and
Forrest Tucker.
I actually got it right when I was in bed there. Forrest Tucker, yeah. Larry Storch. I always wanted to go up to Larry Storch and said, what do you think your most influential role it was during the course of your life?
Did he have other roles?
No. I loved him, though. I loved him on that show. Do you remember his character's name?
Oh, no. I haven't seen it's been almost 50
Corporal
years.
Agarn.
Agarn. Wow.
It's possible that I saw it when I was too young to remember that I saw it, but I don't remember.
All of those great 60s sitcoms I mostly watched I entirely watched in reruns, usually in about the first half of the 70s when I was a pretty little kid. And
you were a pretty little kid. I've seen pictures.
thank you. The F Troop was not one of my favorites. I never sought it out, but also when it was on, I don't remember reaching for the knob and changing the channel.
Yeah. It's not worth the effort. You got to get off the sofa. You got to walk over to the set and then go.
So when everybody was playing Cowboys and Indians, since I'm considerably more advanced in age than you fellas, you could get cowboy hats and the cap guns, the chrome-plated revolvers, and I did that for a little while, and then I saw Daniel Boone, and I thought, no, this is the way to go, man.
So I had the cap.
And I had the buckskin outfit with the buckskin pants and I had a Winchester rifle instead of the.
You got to be wearing stuff you killed. You don't want to be wearing stuff you harvested.
I love raccoons. I love them. I think they're the coolest animals in the world. But I know we killed hundreds of thousands of them for that craze.
To make those hats.
Yeah. But I loved.
Because we didn't know how to make fake fur back then, I don't think.
I loved Daniel Boone so much. And it's so funny how these memories stick with you. So two things. One of them was there was an episode where they were, I also really loved the whole cavalry thing. I did the cavalry thing, the U.S. cavalry, with that outfit. I thought that was just so much cooler than, they were like cowboys and they were soldiers. They were badass.
Cow soldiers.
But there was one episode of Daniel Boone where the good guys, meaning the white folks, were holed up in this fort, and they were damn near out of ammunition. Like almost completely out of ammunition, and they were surrounded by red savages who were going to overrun the battlements like the next day, and it was like the next day was like the 4th of July, and they knew they were going to attack, something along those lines. And so the night before the battle, Daniel Boone convinces the guys inside the garrison to have this huge fireworks display, which burns all of their powder. They have got no powder left. But he faked the Indians into thinking that they had so much powder
that they could burn
it. They could afford to burn it. And I remember thinking that's the smartest, coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. And just a secondary note on this, back during the Friends of Abe days, I got to know a guy and wasn't super close to him, but certainly on every occasion I saw him, we got together and talked for a while. And his name was Ed Ames.
Ames. Oh, yeah.
And Ed Ames, just the nicest man you could imagine. Couldn't be nicer to me. And Ed Ames, I later found out was the guy who got the biggest laugh on the Tonight Show. He was the guy who threw the tomahawk.
Laugh in TV history. Yeah.
And then
it was longer than the Jack Benny laugh.
No, but the longest laugh in TV history was Ed Ames on the Tonight Show. Yeah. And then many years later, after Ed Ames, my friend Ed Ames had died, I'm looking at the opening of Daniel Boone, and Ed Ames was Daniel Boone's Indian friend. And if I had put those two things together when I'd known him, I would have lost my mind.
Oh, man. It was a very big deal.
What a great guy.
3rd grade, I guess, when they put us all on the bus and took us to Daniel Boone's home outside of St. Louis.
Wow.
And
the boys on the reservation were all too busy to star in that movie, in that TV show.
Did they take you to Fess Parker's house?
No.
Because I love Fess Parker, and he seemed like he was a really cool guy.
You mean you went to see the actual historical
home of
characters? Yeah.
No, of the guy, Daniel Boone, not a TV
Daniel
actor.
Boone retired in San Diego?
No, Defiance, Missouri.
Oh, that sounds a little more reasonable. Why did I think San Diego?
I don't know.
Defiance. Weren't we talking about Defiance last week with the ship or something?
Do you remember that series started out as Davy Crockett with Fess Parker, and then they changed it to Daniel Boone?
Did they really?
Yeah, it started. The first one was Davy Crockett,
demoted
from the Wild Frontier, and then it went to Daniel Boone was a man. Yeah, they switched.
Really?
They both wore coonskin caps, but they switched them.
It was
I don't know why.
The same actor, basically the same show.
Pretty sure it was the same actor.
I don't know.
Wow.
We would see episodes of that occasionally on The Wonderful World of Disney. Like they would do either Daniel Boone or Davy Crockett, maybe. I don't remember. We were very young.
Apparently, the latest historical research says that Crockett was one of the guys who actually survived the fall of the Alamo and was executed by the Mexicans that he actually surrendered.
Damn.
The Mexicans or the Spaniards?
The Mexicans.
I want to blame the Spaniards for something. I feel like they don't get enough attention. I mean, there was a whole Spanish-American War, and we hardly talk about them.
As I recall,
We should have more disdain
As
for
I
them,
recall,
akin to
well,
the French.
Generalissimo Franco is still dead.
I'm fairly sure that if I remember this correctly, during the Battle of Manila Bay, when the U.S. Navy sailed around the world and blew the Spanish fleet out of the water, I think the United States took one fatality, and it was a coal stoker who had a heart attack.
Maybe that's why we don't talk much about the Spaniards.
That was. I mean, we ended up with an empire, and we didn't mean to. Quite.
That, and I think, like, I credit my friends from Mexico for cleaning up the Spanish language to make it sound a lot better, because if you're from Spain and you want to say something is in your heart, you say, en mi corazón.
That's called Castilian.
En mi corazón.
En mi corazón. And you write with a lápiz.
A lápiz.
Yeah, we had to learn Castilian.
Yeah, it's just wrong. The Mexicans are saying it right. Hey, I'm trying to think. I've got two things here. I think I'm going to pick that one for my episode because there are two things I want to do. So I will just mention this one now. We had talked before about how President Trump was successful in getting Congress to cut back the allocation for public broadcasting. Yeah. And I wake up today to news that yesterday the Corporation for Public Broadcasting's board voted to dissolve.
It's gone as of today, I think.
It's just vanished, yes. And they said they voted to dissolve rather than make it dormant because they didn't want some political hacks taking it over and using it for their purposes.
Yeah, they might have named it the Trump Broadcasting Center or something.
Yeah, and then plated it in gold. But it said, here's the quote from the president and chief executive of the now defunct organization. CPB, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting's final act would be to protect the integrity of the public media system and the democratic values by dissolving rather than allowing the organization to remain defunded and vulnerable to additional attacks. And then the chair of the CPB board called the defunding that Trump initiated and Congress approved devastating, but he expressed hope that a new Congress will address public media's role in our country because it's critical to our children's education, our history, culture, and democracy to do so. Something that didn't exist until like the 1960s is crucial.
And how else are our children going to learn about transgender Muppets if they don't have PBS? It's an outrage. An outrage.
New Jersey's public television network announced in September that it may close next year. Arkansas Public Television has already dropped its affiliation with PBS, so there's just now it's a state public television network. And several public radio stations have dropped their NPR affiliation. Federal funding has destabilized a system scrambling for answers. Do you like how they always portray everything as chaotic? Like these people didn't see this coming. Like they didn't just sit down and have meetings and go, okay, well, it looks like the Trump administration is probably going to defund us. What do y'all think we should do? Let's make some plans.
That's what it's so vital. Everything they did was so vital that when push came to shove, they quit.
Yeah. Well, and they kept saying, well, and some of these aren't quitting. They're just not affiliating with the national.
I'm talking about PBS.
Yeah. And this is the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. By the way, folks, CPB is not PBS because the public broadcasting system is this network of these like 300 public TV stations around the country, but and radio stations. But CPB is just a middleman that basically takes a basket of money from the federal government and turns around and distributes it to PBS affiliates around the country, including statewide systems and individual stations. So what Trump just did by getting them to defund themselves defunding them and getting them to dissolve is he basically cut out the middleman. So if you want to give money to public broadcasting, do it.
Between BritBox and HBO or whoever it was buying Sesame Street, there was absolutely no reason for PBS anymore.
Yeah. And
I
he's
got
a
my
man.
Masterpiece
Somebody bought
Theater.
Sesame Street from PBS?
Like, did we really ever need public TV to have British, dramas?
I have to say, without it, I don't think I ever would have found Monty Python and Jack Horkheimer had Star Hustler on there, and it had its moments, and they had a bunch of stuff like those great British dramas like I Claudius and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
But as I said, it lost its purpose after.
Masterpiece Theater.
Yeah, but to me, none of that. I'm not critical of the content necessarily of public TV, other than their news taking taxpayer dollars to advance the leftist agenda. But I used to love watching nature shows and some of the entertainment stuff that they had on there. Yeah. I worked for a public TV station. I did fundraising for 7 years. I only worked for a public TV station for a year and a half, but I came back. They asked me to be an on-air host for 7 years. I came every time they did a fundraising thing, and I stood in front of the camera and asked people to donate to public TV.
Do you have any of that footage?
It's great. Oh, I don't think so. They weren't recording it. It was a live broadcast.
Yeah. And for about 3 years straight, I would go to school on Monday morning just freaking exhausted, black circles under my eye, falling asleep in class. Because I think it was in 7th grade when PBS, Channel 9 in St. Louis, started showing like a 3-hour Doctor Who marathon from 10 to 1 every Sunday night / Monday morning.
People love their Doctor Who. However, they weren't great givers when it came to fundraising. Like they were not, they thought that
It's because it was 12-year-old boys like me.
That's right. Exactly. So when we did the fundraising breaks during Doctor Who, it was like, hey, $5, anything, please, cough it up. My favorite moment, there was two great moments when I was doing fundraising. Usually there were 3 hosts in the studio, and we would just kind of throw it back and forth to each other. It was kind of like this show. And so I was on with, actually there were 4 of us this time. It was me, my friend Harry, who was my boss, the station manager, John, and then Bill Planders, who was, I forget what he was the development director. So he would go around and ask businesses to contribute money. Anyway, we're on the set and we're getting ready to go live. And all this is, live TV that's going out to central Pennsylvania. And we're just talking about how we do what we're trying to do here. And several of us are waxing eloquent about how when we talk, we try to look into that camera, through the screen. There's a teleprompter screen, but they weren't putting anything on the teleprompter. So we're looking through that piece of glass. We're looking into the camera and trying to picture that individual sitting in his easy chair or on the sofa and connect with them on an emotional level by, looking them in the eye. And so we're getting all, dramatic about how we're really trying to personally connect with the viewer when we do this fundraising thing. And right before they do the 3, 2, 1 countdown and we go live, John, who was the station manager, goes, well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm just looking at that piece of glass. And it was just like, then it's like, go. And he just said that, and we're live on TV. The other moment was they had me doing fundraising during Sesame Street, which is the second worst time to do fundraising.
Oh yeah, those toddlers, they're freeloaders.
After Doctor Who. So anyway, so they thought it would be a great idea to bring in the children of the employees of the TV station. And so we had, 6 or 10 kids sitting around there. And basically we kind of sat down on geometric shapes, cubes and stuff like that. And the kids we gave some of them toys so that they wouldn't be too distracted or distracting. And so I'm talking to this one kid before we go on, and he's telling me how much he loves Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And I thought, oh, this is great. So, they do the countdown, 3, 2, 1. They go to me, and I just come in cold, and I say, hey, I was just talking with Bobby here about how much he loves watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It's like, Bobby, tell me, what do you like about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? And Bobby goes, I don't watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Bastard. I could see this coming.
And I was like, oh, you ice cold SOB. You just dropped me like a pro wrestler. And he was just like, and I tried one more time, and he's like, basically, I don't know what you're talking about. Why would you say that?
So this would have been about I think it might have been exactly 1974. But before Jack Horkheimer got Star Hustler / Stargazer on PBS, he convinced the Miami PBS, WPBT Miami, convinced him to do a live special on a lunar eclipse called Night of the Red Moon. Oh. And he also had a planetarium show written called Night of the Red Moon. And he decided to have this 14-year-old kid come on and do sort of a live color commentary on the ongoing eclipse as various craters and lunar features were, obscured into the dark red shadow of the Earth, right? So I was 14 years old, and I'm standing in front of this blue screen, and I'm looking at this monitor, and they've got this telephoto picture from the roof of WPBT of the moon, and it's, there it is. And there's a lot of atmospheric distortion, and I'm not making this up. And they throw to me, and it's like, oh, wait, Bill Whittle, who works at the Miami Planetarium. And just as they're finishing the introduction, this absolutely happened this way. This big honking white cloud just moves right in front of the moon. And that's when I learned how to tap dance spontaneously. Well, before we talk about the craters disappearing, let's just go over the basics of the, what exactly a lunar eclipse is. And I'm just like, man, I'm thinking, my God, what the hell am I doing?
And you're not supposed to stare directly into the moon during an eclipse.
I'd pay real money to I'm certain that footage is gone, but that would have been cool to see.
That is your Ronald Reagan radio moment. Oh, he just fouled off a seventh pitch.
Yeah, exactly. And but the one thing I clearly remember is that I did not freeze. And many years later, I had the same experience at PJTV because I was hired as an editor there.
Yeah.
And we were getting ready.
You got a face for editing, I think is what they said.
I had a name for it too. And we were getting ready because PJTV did like live news, at like 3:30 in the afternoon or something, trying to compete with CNN and Fox and all the rest of those guys. And one of the on-air anchors was stuck in traffic, and Owen, I think it was Owen Brennan, came through and said, "Any of you guys know how to, do a teleprompter?" I said, "Yeah, I can do it." Yeah. So get a tie and a jacket on and get in there. And I'd never done it in my life, but how hard is it really,
Yeah.
So
how could it be?
So we're sitting there, and this is like the first broadcast ever that I'm on, and they're doing this, and I got the earpiece in, the IFB, the interruptible fold back. And
never knew what that meant.
And it's like, okay, so we're going to go to and this is them talking in the ear, and we're having a conversation because I think we were doing the GOP convention.
Oh wow!
And it said, okay, so all right, Bill, so get ready. You're going to throw to this footage of somebody on the floor talking to some senator or something like that. And ready, and 3, 2, 1. Said, let's go down to the floor now and hear what our own somebody has to say with Senator someone. And then instantly in the voice I hear, the tape's not ready. Before we do that though, let's put some kind of a perspective on this. Let's get a frame around this. Just like instantly, just kick into that. Yeah.
No dead air.
And then the next thing you know, I'm an on-air personality.
When I was in college, I was in a rock band, and the drummer for our rock band, I was going to say the lead drummer because at one point we had 2 drummers. But anyway, Eric, who was the drummer in our rock band, was a meteorology student. And then after college, he got like an internship at a TV station in Steubenville, Ohio. And his job was to drag cables. So when they were doing the newscast, they had these great big cameras that were rolling around on giant dollies. And so his job was to make sure that nobody tripped on the cables that were connecting those to the control room in the other room. And so that's all he was supposed to do. That's the best he could do. And anyway, his mom said, you need to take a suit to work with you. And he's like, Mom, I wear T-shirts and jeans. I drag cables. Nobody ever sees me. I don't need a suit at work. Nobody's expecting anything. And she just says, take a suit. And so he takes a suit at her command and hangs it in his locker where it goes, unused for some time. Anyway, one day they have a snowstorm and the chief meteorologist gets stuck and can't come to the station, can't get to the station. And Eric winds up getting tagged to do the weather during a snowstorm while, because the guy who was supposed to do it wasn't available to do it. Just a year or so ago, Eric retired after some 30 years as the chief meteorologist at the CBS affiliate in Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's epic.
Where he probably hardly had to do snow reports at all.
Yeah, very rarely in North Carolina. But and he was fantastic. Like he was smart and he had a great personality and everything. He still is fantastic. And he's gone back to drumming, which I'm very glad to hear. So
and he had a suit ready when he had to go on camera unexpectedly.
Exactly. Thanks, and so there's to me that was one of the great life lessons, always have a suit ready.
Yeah,
whatever the equivalent is.
When opportunity knocks, you got to have your suitcase packed. Somebody famous from Steubenville, was it Dean Martin?
Oh, really?
Or might have been Johnny Carson. And the only reason
Carson's
I know
from
this,
Iowa.
the only reason I know that somebody famous is from Steubenville is because my all-time favorite TV personality, Foster Brooks, came on as the scout leader for whoever this person was, and he said, "I remember back when we were all scouts back in Stupidville."
Yeah, and I just looked it up. Dean Martin was indeed from Steubenville.
Was it Dean?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
sitting around the campfire, toasting our weenies and warming our buns in our little shorts, toasting our weenies and warming our buns.
I saw a clip of a movie that Dean Martin was in, and he was playing a more serious character. It might have been a funny movie, I don't know, but he's a good actor. Yeah. Anyway, last night we finished. It took us 2 sessions to watch this, but we finished once again watching the movie White Christmas. Have you watched that movie recently?
No.
So this
possibly ever.
Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye.
Oh my God, Danny Kaye.
Don't like Danny Kaye, and I'm not a Bing fan.
I do like Danny Kaye, but I'm not a Bing fan.
Yeah, Bing Crosby actually comes across as unlikable even on camera.
Wasn't he a horrible person in real life?
Well, people say things. But anyway, and then there was this young woman the actress's name escapes me now. There were 2 lead women, of course. They played the girlfriend characters for Danny Kaye and Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby's girlfriend character was Rosemary Clooney. Now, Rosemary Clooney was on game shows in the 1970s, yeah. and she was old. And you saw her, like, when I first found out that dame on White Christmas was Rosemary Clooney, I was like, what? Because she was a fairly attractive, wonderful singer. Anyway, the woman who was playing the other lead female role apparently signed up, like they auditioned her for this movie because she was a great dancer, and she wound up singing in it, and that turned out well. Anyway, the movie is very entertaining and funny and really touching, unbelievably well done. And the music acts are great. The dancing is phenomenal. Danny Kaye's dancing is extraordinary, and he's this like goofy comic guy. But White Christmas has one scene in which they sing the praises of the old minstrel shows.
Oh boy! So no more white
that's
Christmas
problematical.
for you.
Yeah. So that's the white Christmas thing is, yeah.
It's a real white Christmas.
And they don't do it in blackface, but they are the song is pining for the days of the old minstrel shows, and that's the whole purpose of that song. And I was like, do they even air this movie anymore? Like, we're watching it on a streaming service. Of course, you can pull that up anytime you want, but are networks carrying?
I have no idea.
I don't.
I had a similar Rosemary Clooney thing. I knew her from 70s game shows, and she was the older, funny, not very attractive actress, but always very funny. But mid-90s, when I started expanding on my jazz collection, I just kind of randomly picked up this, wasn't even a greatest hits. It was basically a random collection of Ellington songs with different vocalists on each track. And it had a 1953, I think, recording of Rosemary Clooney doing Sophisticated Lady. And I went, oh, she's smoking.
She was really terrific in that movie. And she has to play kind of a difficult role. Like it's a comedy in many ways, but her role isn't comic.
I don't remember if we were talking about this on Backstage or whether I was talking about this with Shelley. Maybe I was talking about it with Shelley. But they ran It's a Wonderful Life, and they had to cut it for time. So you know what they did?
No.
They cut out all of the Potterville sequence.
Like 20 plus minutes gone. Potterville gone. I mean, that's the
story
point of the
doesn't
movie.
make any sense
Like
at all.
when he
without
goes there
Potterville.
with the Italian family and everything?
He never goes to Potterville. That whole thing where everything is strip joints and run down and all of that.
Oh, okay. In the after his suicide attempt.
When he's being shown what the world would be like, Potterville was the most terrifying part of that thing.
Yeah.
I just cut it just for time.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's a travesty.
They said, I saw a clip of Jimmy Stewart being interviewed recently, and apparently when he's in that bar.
I saw this too.
I haven't seen this.
He was not planning to cry in that
when he's praying to God, when he's about to jump off the bridge, praying for help.
And he's like praying. He's like, Lord, I'm not a praying man, but, help me. And he just teared up. And there's an implication in the clip that I saw that it had something to do with, post-traumatic stress from World War II.
Wow.
Which could be. I mean, he flew missions and such.
He was
my
serious.
grandfather actually ran into Jimmy Stewart when he was crossing the English Channel during the war. At some point, I guess they had freedom of travel back and forth across the channel after a while, and he wound up sitting up late at night talking to Jimmy Stewart for a while.
I might have mentioned this once before.
Two
but
Pennsylvania boys.
First time I got to LA, like the second or third day I was in LA in 1988, I got a job at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I was as a temp. And
Who do you have to know?
Pretty much anybody. As a temp, and Enterprise picks you up and drops you off. That's part of their advertising thing. So on my first or second day after arriving in LA, I find myself in like this rental car, and we were in Beverly Hills, and I've got the Thomas guide, and I'm trying to navigate myself around the city.
The Thomas guide.
And I'm going to pick this guy up, and I'm driving down this boulevard, and it's like, this is the freaking Beverly Hillbillies Boulevard I'm on, It's like, oh my God. Yeah. So I pull into this incredible house, really just incredible. And I'm waiting, I knock on the door, and the guy says, I'll be right down. And I'm just standing there, and I look and I see one of these Hollywood tour buses go by, and about 2 doors down, it stops. And this man comes to the curtains and waves, people wave back, and then the bus takes off. And the guy comes out, and I said, hey, excuse me, sir, I just noticed that the bus stopped down there. Could you tell me who that was? He said, oh, that's where Jimmy Stewart lives. I said, well, he came to the window and waved. And the man said, I've never seen him not do it.
Wow.
If he's at home, cool. If he's at home and awake and that bus stops, he comes to the window and waves at everybody. And he was on the Tonight Show with Carson talking about the fans, and Stewart just said, I lived the most amazing life in the history of the world. I mean, I'm famous, money and all this. It's the least I could do. I can't imagine anything less than this. Yeah, what a great guy.
He seemed like a genuinely good guy.
He really seemed to be.
By the way, they're making a movie.
Yeah.
Coming out this year, maybe. That
Called
is
Jimmy, I think. Right?
And it's a part of his story. And the guy they cast doesn't look a whole lot like him, but he sounds like him.
Well, the guy they cast for the Elvis biopic didn't look like Elvis, but by the time the movie is over, you think that he looks more like Elvis than Elvis.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Stewart wasn't. He didn't just
fly.
He didn't just fly combat missions. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the thick of it, man.
Yeah. He didn't just go to do like entertainment tours with the USO or something.
No, he was a bomber. What did he fly? B-24s?
I want to say B-24s, and I was working for one season before I got. So I had a regular gig that lasted 5 years, just before I moved to PJTV, doing Sunday morning shootout. And it was a 5-year gig, but I never knew it was a 5-year gig. It was a 3-month gig that extended for 5 years, so I never got to relax.
It was a 3-hour tour. Yeah.
It's just every 3 months we'd have to get renewed, and so you never know that you're going to be working for any long. But it went on for 5 years. And just before that, I was an editor and post-production supervisor on a show called Ed McMahon's Next Big Star.
Oh,
which
nice.
was
I
which
remember
was,
that show.
It was his comeback. He was trying to reproduce Star Search, right? So I think we did 1 season or 2 seasons. Yeah. And this was right at 9/11. I mean, 9/11 happened right then.
Wow.
And so we had a rap party, like a combination Christmas party and rap party. And they asked me to write a few jokes about this. And Ed McMahon was a Marine Corps fighter pilot. And I said, and I wrote a joke, and I said, many of you may not know this, but Ed McMahon was in the Marine Corps, was a fighter pilot, was credited with shooting down 5 aircraft, two of which were No, it was
World War II? Okay.
Credited with shooting down 5 aircraft, 2 of which were Japanese. And and Ed, I don't think Ed particularly smiled an awful lot at that joke for some reason.
No.
It's a good gag, though.
Gary Sinise is the bass player for the Lieutenant Dan band. And I told him this well-worn saw that I'd heard, what do you call the guy that hangs out with the musicians after a rock and roll gig? The bass player.
Bass player.
Yeah. He didn't seem too particularly amused by that one either. So.
And I don't even like that joke very much. I'll tell you what. I was having this conversation with my now 20-year-old son earlier today, because he showers. He uses the guest bathroom here in my office because he likes the shower head better than the bathroom in his room.
I'd buy a new shower head.
And he blasts his music. And I heard him playing "If You Let Me Stay," Sly and the Family Stone, and I texted him when he got out of the shower. I said, "The bass line in that song changed my life."
You got to hang on a second, because and it's time for us to go, but I just got to get this.
Oh yeah, it is.
I stumbled upon this, but there is apparently an entire mill of jokes for viola players.
Really?
Yeah, wow. Hang on.
Violajokes.com. Yeah, bass players get a tough
How do you
rap.
keep your violin from getting stolen? Put it in a viola case.
Nobody wants to play the viola.
I remember some of them were just great.
I'm a big cello fan.
You ever notice, like, as bass players get a bad rap, but I in Todd Rundgren's song "Bang on the Drum," I don't want to work. I just want to bang on the drum all day. When they get to the musical break of that song, the instrumental break, most of that instrumental break is boom, 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 boom. It's almost all bass. Yeah. It's not drums.
I love a good bass line.
But it's like the whole song is, I just want to bang on the drum all day. And then they cut to the instrument and it's boom, 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 boom,
I was
boom, boom.
I was looking for stuff to get my now 20-year-old son for his birthday, which was last week, and
Maybe a bass.
he collects a lot of vinyl, as they say now. You can't call them records, or it's vinyl. And I noticed he had some Miles Davis on his wish list, and I'm like, oh my God. If he's getting into Miles Davis, I'm going to send him off in a totally new direction. He'll either love it or hate it. I don't care, but I got to introduce him to Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, because I mean they're doing God's work. They deliver the message of jazz.
Yes.
And I can't remember which Blakey album it was I got him, but he opens it on his birthday last week, and before he's even done getting the wrap off, he looks and he says, "You got me Art Blakey?" And you could have knocked me over with a feather right then.
So he already knew.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a viola and a coffin? The viola has the dead person on the outside. I don't
That
remember,
would be
but
better if
there
they
were
said,
some of them. Some of them were really
said
funny.
The coffin has the dead person on the inside.
Yeah, that could work as well too, I suppose. All right, let's get on our business here, Cats.
Yes, let's do this. The first episode of 2026. Is this like a round number anniversary for us in this?
No.
We started in 2008, didn't we?
Yeah,
2009.
But didn't we start with BillWhittle.com in like 2016?
That
Yeah,
sounds right.
yeah.
Yeah, 10
it'll be
years,
10
man.
years in May.
Yeah. So this
Wow.
we're going to drop a special ball now to celebrate
On one of you.
America 10, just for this show. Ladies and gentlemen, this show has been enduring for almost a decade now because of your support. And even before that, when we were at the old entity, many of you were still standing by us, and we are grateful for that. We thank you that we get the opportunity this week to have a water cooler conversation about what's going on in the world with some of our dearest friends. For Bill Whittle and Stephen Green, I'm Scott Ott. Thanks to the members at BillWhittle.com for being those dear friends.